he's been a great fan of yours throughout the years, has most of your old records and the new one as well. And he read something, in, he believes it was Rolling Stone magazine, an interview where you said that your approach to songs in the past had been mistaken, and that came as kind of a shock to him. Do you recall any comments to that effect? And there's still more to this question, by the way. First of all, I have to ask you about that.
Yeah. Well, I think this is going to be a tricky thing to explain, because what I was doing was I was trying to clear up something that was mistaken, you know, and what generally happens is that you just perpetuate a misunderstanding. What I think my songs were some of my songs were perhaps a part of them was misunderstood at the time around The Pretender, because I think the album The Pretender, some of the songs were perceived to be about the death of my wife. And really, what happens is that the more your life is written about, the less you can write songs as if you were just anybody, anonymous, you know. So, because I had a narrative form, a first-person narrative form of writing, I always wrote in the first person about things that more or less happened. It's not really what happens or what you write about, it's like how you write about them that connects you to everybody else. Anyway, because it was highly publicized, or it was like really well known that my wife had died, and it really happened during the recording, which means most of the songs were written. There may have been one song, there were a couple little things that were written afterwards, a couple things were finished, and it really seemed to most people, I think to many reviewers, that the songs were about that. And really they were related, because they were about my life, and it was all about, you know, the life. I mean, it was one aspect of it that, you know, my wife was a very unhappy person, and she was one of the ended in taking her life, you know. So it's related, but it wasn't as if my wife died and then I wrote a bunch of songs about it. And I wanted to clear that up. I wanted to say it because I know that I'm associated with a bunch of songwriters who all through the 80s were considered indulgent, self-indulgent, and somewhat self-involved. I don't deny the self-involved part, you know, but I don't think that it was self-pitying, for instance, to write what I wrote, and so I said so in the article. You know, it's not. Well, like I said, it's really hard to go back and clear something up, because now for a whole new readership, there will be this question that was raised, you know. But you know, The Pretender's about really not about that. I mean, there are. One of my favorite things about songs is that, I mean, about my writing is that there are a number of double entendres and you know, double meanings of things, you know, and I think that they're richer for it. But just Sleep Stark and Silent Gay, when I say, and the only thing that makes me cry is the kindness of my baby's eye, I'm really not talking about my baby son who survived, you know, this. I mean, it wasn't about, you know, like feeling sad because my wife died and I see the kindness in my son. It was about. It was written before she died, and it's about, really it was about trying to, well, for me to say what it's about is silly, because I hope the song is about everybody else's life too, you know. But anyway, I met my girlfriend, my lover, my wife, you know, is not, but anyway, so, that's what that's about. It was, I think for most people, I was referring to a certain perception, but I don't mean to say that my songs have been misunderstood. I hope that they haven't. I think that, you know, there was that one thing that I wanted to clear up.
これは訂正しなきゃいけないところ。なんかきっかけがあった。Perhaps a common thread throughout your approach to songwriting. Your older stuff seemed to be dealing with more personal politics, matters to heart, whereas more recent stuff, 80s stuff, so you have to have more of a political bent. Like you said, there may be a common thread joining all of that. But was there something that made you focus your interest towards the outside? A turning point, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think two things. I think that partly I think it's just because as you grow older, you're more interested. Some of these personal questions become resolved, and you begin to notice the world, and it's you pay more attention to what's going on in the world. And partly also because I began writing. When I began writing, it goes back to that idea that I had a first-person narrative style of writing, and I wrote about my own life in the first person as if it was just anybody's life, and of course it is just like anybody else's life in so many ways. But the more people know about, and then after so many years, you are a famous person, and your life has been commented on, and the events of your life are known. People mistake you writing about your own life as if it's a specific life. I wanted to write about. So for that reason, I write fewer songs. They didn't stop writing in the first-person narrative. I mean, In the Shape of a Heart or Enough for the Night. These songs are, I think, among my best. But I write fewer of them. I write fewer of them because some of these, I'm less interested in. I also became. I think I was really politicized by the Reagan era. Well, I was political in matters of ecology during the 70s, and I was really, a critic of the Carter, approach, because he sort of went back on. Well, anyway, for a number of reasons, I was critical of Carter, but when I don't think anybody knew to what extent Reagan's policies and his presidency would really do so many radical things. He radically altered, the political landscape, and I was politicized by it. And I think that things that were bad got worse, and I was affected by that. So I think that in some cases I was really very deeply moved by things I discovered about Central America and about having gone there and met people. And at a certain point, you're willing to take the chance that you will be perceived as some sort of radical, just so that just take that chance because there are very few things that are important. There may be only a few things worth doing in this life, and one of them would be to try to help people who are in a really bad situation.
So you do a cover of Little Steven's "I'm a Patriot." And his interpretation of that is like, because you're a patriot, you criticize the country and you want to push it in the right direction. Have you received any flack over that song? Like, are people getting the right message from it?
Yeah, I think I haven't received any flack. I think that it's very easy for him to get exactly what the point of the song is in the United States. I never had so many questions asked as I had asked in Europe, because they're curious to know if I felt it was really necessary, if I was compelled to make that point. Because in my country, I think he gets the point of it, yeah. But I think that because I've been critical of my country's policies, I think that really, it's really important to point out to people in my own country who are really opponents of my viewpoint, that I needed that song. I wish that I could write a song as simple and as direct as Little Steven's song. It's just beautiful. It's just without any. It's very disarming. It just simply says it's out of. I love my country. I care what happens to it. And, because the rest of the time I'm saying what's, people confuse loyalty with patriotism. They confuse loyalty with shutting up and going along with whatever may be the prevailing political point of view. It's an important song to me, and I tell you, I've been singing that song since it came out, which was about '84. I've sung that song in so many places, and it's become a real valuable thing to be able to say. Like I say, I wish I could write something as simple.
You said in Europe,
in Europe they were really curious about
approach to songs in the past have been mistaken, and that came as kind of a shock to him. Do you recall any comments to that effect? And there's still more to this question, by the way. First of all, I have to ask you about that.
Yeah. Well, I think this is going to be a tricky thing to explain, because what I was doing was I was trying to clear up something that was mistaken, you know, and what generally happens is that you just perpetuate a misunderstanding. What I think my songs were some of my songs were perhaps a part of them was misunderstood at the time around The Pretender, because
he's been a great fan of yours throughout the years, has most of your old records and the new one as well. And he read something, he believes it was Rolling Stone magazine, an interview where you said that you're...
I think the album The Pretender, some of the songs were perceived to be about the death of my wife. And really,